Back and forth most of the first 30 minutes. It's probably going to slow to a slight crawl. Touchdown lead for the Scarlet Knights when we come back.
I told myself I was okay with my moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis symptoms.
With my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. But just okay? Is it okay?
And I was done settling.
If you still have symptoms after trying a TNF blocker like Humira or Enbrel, Rinvoq works differently. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that can rapidly relieve joint pain, stiffness, and swelling as fast as 2 weeks for some. And even at the 3-year mark, many people felt this relief. Rinvoq can stop joint damage, and in PSA can leave skin clear or almost clear.
Rinvoq can lower ability to find infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin, serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occur. CV event risk increases in age 50 plus with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events: infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take a allergic or have an infection.
Young Valley,
Ask your rheumatologist for Rinvoq.
and take back the sword.
Here you are in Arizona, where time is measured in moments, not minutes. And relaxation is an art form. At the intersection of utter serenity and total awe, where you feel fully present, experiencing the past. And you meet your inner foodie for the first time, right at the center of the best time you've had in years. Visit a new state of mind in Arizona. Plan your trip at hereyouareaz.com.
Brisket is back at Chipotle. Seasoned, smoked, seared, spiced, sauced, bold, and guac. It's a whole new kind of brisket, done the Chipotle way.
Dr. Pepper presents a Bentonville Playoff February special.
Steak out to 12 feet.
It's a playoff hero miracle. That's playoff hero.
It's a full month of the college football playoffs. It starts in December and ends in most of January. It's like the holidays, but for college football fans.
And if we all believe, stay with the deep playoff.
Do you really think that's big chance?
Sure, but the defense won't play.
College football gets up there.
Yeah, Papa John's offer 2 or more Papa Parents menu items for $6.99 each. Get your favorites, $6.99 each. Better convenience, better pizza, better dishes. Papa John's.
Check the numbers in studio coming up out of the United States where they go halftime. Before we recap an absolute thriller between Toledo and Pitt. Most overtime in the history of college postseason. Also, what to expect from 2 of the best running backs in all of college football, Ashton Jeanty and Cam Scattergold, with their respective college football ball games. And Trevor Mathis with his thoughts on our first half. Wes, coming up when you join us at that.
All right, Kevin, thanks very much. Trevor ball quick. Second down. Out to that timeout, Cadillac Menace. And they're putting the flag on play, trying to down enough. And Donovan McIntosh is there in coverage. Next thing. And the 3rd down, 7 here. Players just kind of slowed down the pace a little bit here. And really showing some tempo throughout the vast majority of the first half. That's taking it off the gas. All of them, back to the near side here. Here's the 3rd down. Wide open, call back up. First down for Rutgers, K-State territory, the 34 again. Donovan McIntosh and covers the Wildcats. Talking about respecting the opponent's cushion. Now that Bennett delivers the strike, it's hit. Throws the dart on the sideline, a huge cushion. Nobody Bennett hit that throws McIntosh in the play almost 15. Freshman picked up. It was like 0 Knights. There's 2 with you running fast. Lakers first half.
Then you going? All right, hold on.
Rotation is mainly caused by the left foot, and our fancy term is engaging forces, which means we push from the ball of the foot back to the heel. Do sort of a split stance like this. Lean forward and then lift your toes. You will feel that pressure straight away. You can see it right there. The pressure's going right into the ball of your foot. And the key thing that I'd like you guys just to pay attention to is what my feet are doing. So you can see I'm having this nice fluid movement, and I start to shift before my arms finish the backswing.
While he does the move, look at how open his pelvis and ribcage is.
Notice the height of Eric's head as he goes. So you see how you dip down there?
Yeah.
It's okay to dip down because now you've got that platform to be able to push up. What I've done is I've placed on the landscape about a foot behind Eric's left glute. Now the key feeling I want you to have is as you push out from that ball of the foot.
Why is everybody so obsessed with me? Down the weak toes, getting that flat out down into it. What? Believe? Let's go ahead and try one, see if that stays up. Yeah, that felt really good too.
Beautiful.
Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about 3 reasons why you can't rotate and how to fix them. Really cool concept in today's video that we haven't really covered much in our videos in the past. A couple of awesome drills. To my left, Mr. Giles Gill. Giles, thanks for coming out, man.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric.
Appreciate you. If you haven't checked out Giles' channel before, it's an awesome YouTube channel. We'll link that in the description down below. So I watched a lot of your videos, which are awesome, by the way. And I really like some of the concepts of how you teach rotation. Certainly you and I as coaches, we get a lot of people who come in, they say, hey, listen, I want to be able to rotate more, I'm really struggling with it. We've got 3 reasons why that might happen, we'll cover later on. But conceptually in terms of how the feet work, the lead foot in particular, and the pressure in the feet, guide us through what you would take a student through if they wanted to increase their rotation.
Of course, I think the first thing is, like you mentioned, rotation comes from the feet. And this is a real misunderstanding, is a lot of people are trying to turn to the top and just turn their whole body over. But nowadays, with the latest technology, we can measure everything. And the one thing that we see is rotation is mainly caused by the left foot. And our fancy term is engaging forces, which means we push from the ball of the foot back to the heel. And it gets as simple as that. And one of the key things is learning how to time it, doing it in the right sequence, which we'll dive into in this video. But the key thing is understanding it comes from the feet.
Yeah. And so one of the things I like that you say in some of your videos, like if someone wants to get more rotation, that like the sooner, faster, harder they would do this movement, the more rotation they would get.
For sure, and I think something that a lot of people don't realize is when we start to shift back towards the target, is we actually do it before we finish the backswing.
Yeah.
So this is one way that allows us to get that early rotation is we are pushing into the ball of the foot before we finish the backswing. So it's like having a 2-second head start until you get race.
Yeah.
So then from there you're able to push from the ball of the foot into the heel. You can see naturally without thinking of already generating my rotation.
So let's say, are you warmed up enough to hit?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Let's do like 1 or 2 reversals. Let's say like you're trying to feel it. So it's like, okay, hey guys, I get it. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of feel into the lead toes. Like, how would you feel it? When would you feel it? Let's go through some of that.
So for myself, the first key is we're not getting into the toes. And there's a really nice exercise I take my clients through. Is if you want to feel what the ball of the foot feels like, do sort of a split stance like this. Lean forward and then lift your toes up. You will feel that pressure straight away. You can see it right there. The pressure's going right into the ball of your foot. So that's the bit that we're trying to push from. Now when I'm feeling it, I break it into 2 parts. So I'll take it back, first of all, to left arm parallel on the backswing, and I'll go to the top and back to left arm parallel, where I'm feeling the pressure just amplify underneath that ball of the foot. Like you're standing on the scale, you push your foot down, number spots.
Yeah.
Then from there, once I've done that, and that gives me time to get my arms in front of me, then from there, no time. Then I'll push from the ball of the foot to the heel. The harder I do that, the more I do that, and the rotation I'm going to get.
Yeah.
So I'll even hit some little just clips like maybe 50, 60 yards, where I go right, left arm parallel, I'll go ball of the foot, and I'll come down into the heel.
Yeah.
It'll look a little bit like this. And I've maybe gone a little bit further than 60 yards, but you can see it went nice and slow. And I was able to get that big rotation.
And when you're doing the pressing into the lead foot, and I know I'm sure it changes, per golfer, but if you were going to get that ballpark range, let's say you kind of start, let's just keep it totally simple, say you're kind of 50-50-ish to start type of thing, pressure your feet. When you get into that move, like how much pressure under the lead foot are you talking?
Great question. I would say we're about 80 to 90%.
Okay.
And I really feel like from here, I mean, you look at any other sport, when you're trying to sidestep someone, you're going to have a hell of a lot of pressure in that foot to going to push up.
Yeah.
Now in golf, we're not pushing this way, like in maybe American football or rugby, we're pushing that like it, backing up. And that's the difference, is we're pushing away from the ball.
Okay.
And I think a really good swing thought for every golfer at home is, most golfers, when they're trying to turn, they don't know this, so they are closing the space up between themselves and the golf. Versus if you're trying to rotate, just think, I'm trying to push from the ball of the foot into the heel, but technically I'm trying to push my body away from the golf ball to give my arms some space to move into.
Yeah, so like pushing into and out of, pushing away versus like a just, let me quick twist my hips.
Like a twitch.
Yeah, and one other question with that, so we kind of 80-ish, maybe 90 a lot in the lead foot, and then we're talking like for someone to feel that, like all of their pressure is in that spot. Is that the sensation?
Pretty much, yeah. I feel like my left heel is just gently touching the ground there, so it's mainly in this foot, mainly in the ball of the foot, but very quickly, the faster you do this, and this is what the best players in the world are amazing at, is the faster you go from there to the heel, that's your rotation.
Yeah, okay.
And when I finish my swing, I mean, if I hit one here for you, just notice where the pressure is in my follow-through in that left foot.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's very much in that left heel. I wish I could hit shots like that every time.
Yeah, well, you see, yeah, when you're caddying, you're going to have a big deal. So I think that's some good details and feels. Maybe if you could do one or two rehearsals again, one more hit, just talking through what those feels are. Because when you're doing it, it looks like you're not afraid to exaggerate that to get the impact, right, to get the feeling of it.
100%. And I think we should treat rehearsal swings as a tool that we can over-exaggerate.
Yeah.
We're not trying to do it perfectly, we're trying to over-exaggerate.
Very good.
And the key thing that I'd like you guys just to pay attention to is what my feet are doing. So you can see I'm having this nice fluid movement, and I start to shift before my arms finish the backflip. You guys are going to make life easier for yourself. Kind of giving yourself that head start is going to get you into a much better position to then where you're able to push into the heel a lot quicker.
Yeah, pushing into and out of that foot is a really key concept that we're saying, which is the piece that creates the rotation. Let's hit one more of that and we'll pull our drill in.
Perfect. I always tell people, try and create rotation on ice.
Yeah.
It's going to be very, very difficult because it comes from the feet.
Cool. Beautiful swings, obviously. Let's take a quick break. We'll bring our little yoga block in and do our drill next. So, Giles, we've got a little training tool that I seem to use that I like a lot to help feel that push into and out of that deep foot. You've got to talk us through how that works.
Yes, so essentially I have a yoga wedge here. Something super simple, cost me a couple quid off Amazon. There are loads of devices out there now. You can use force pedals, you can get a tennis ball, half-cup tennis ball, anything under that foot, just to sort of push off of.
Okay.
And the analogy I always like to use is, look at sprinters when they're in the blocks. They have a raised surface because it allows them to push harder. In our golf swing, having a raised surface is going to help us with that. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to set up to the golf ball normally. We're then going to lift our left foot and slide this to where you can see the bottom of the yoga wedge is about halfway up my foot right there. So right in the middle part of my foot. Now from here, because I've got this yoga wedge at an angle and you can see it's matching my foot, I'm going to use this to really feel the pressure go into the yoga wedge and then allow me to push off of it to get the weight going back into the heel.
And you've got that foot flared out a little on purpose.
Yes, that helps me with the rotation. A lot of golfers will have that foot maybe toed in or even square, and that really restricts the hip turn. So if you are a golfer who feels tight in your hips, so especially nowadays when a lot of us are sat down office jobs, driving a lot, our hips will get tighter. Flaring that foot out will help you with that rotation.
And Josh, do you do one more of those like that? Just want you guys to watch it. Do the push into and out of. Watch when he does the move. Look at how open your pelvis and rib cage is, right? So again, the whole point of this is pushing in and out of. Can you do like a pose like that impact from there? So as he gets out of that, look at how much that opens that pelvis and ribcage. So I just want to keep reiterating that what we're talking about doing is the thing that's going to create that rotation and the turn we're looking for.
There's also a great speed move.
Yeah.
If you're looking to increase speed, you're using your legs, you're using your big muscles,
Oh.
you're going to hit that ball a lot further.
Now, do you hit with that under there too?
Yeah. The thing is with this, you might get a little bit of slippage, it depends on sort of the material, but this is quite a sticky material, it's not really going to slip.
Okay.
So I would go slow start with the 80%. I know this is not going to slip, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker, but again, I'm feeling myself push into that yoke wedge and out. The harder I do it, the earlier I do it, the faster I do it, the more I'm going to turn.
Wow.
So, let's give it a rip.
Yeah, nice. That looks so good. I want to try it when we have in there. Well, I've got, I like that. And I think, a lot of the golfers that come in to see us who are struggling with rotation for various reasons, who are really trying to do the twisting, I don't think a lot of golfers put a lot of attention on this. I think for you guys that are watching, it's going to really help. Why don't I do one or two without just to start to get the feel?
Yeah.
And then I'll bring that back in. So we're kind of like working back to maybe left arm parallel. Is that about right?
Yeah, roughly left arm parallel, and then as you now go to the top and come down, you're feeling that pressure spike. So imagine you've got a scale on that foot, right on the ball of the foot. You're trying to spike that number as much as you can.
Push into and out.
100%. And the harder you push down, the higher that number spikes. What do you think that's going to create? More rotation, more speed, more pushing.
Exactly. Okay, we'll hit one like that. Pushing into. So I feel like a lot of pressure is working in my lead quad. My knee is kind of going over my toes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm going to push back in a way like that left hip up and down again. I think I'm going to do one. I'll do one kind of like 70% speed here. Push into and then out. Yeah, felt nice.
Amazing. If you drag another ball across, let me carry your ball, and you do that rehearsal swing, and just pause once you feel that pressure is really high under the foot. Notice here how Eric managed to pull his arms down in front of it. You haven't left your arms all the way back up here.
Yeah.
Because we need our arms in front of us. You can see this elbow is moving in front of this seam line here. So now you're in a position, I call this the gozo. Now you can push out and you can just let that club go as far as you want.
Versus being able to try to make up for something.
As soon as your arms get stuck behind you, you're going to have to throw your arms, slow your rotation. You're not going to go there.
Yeah, got it. Now I want to do one more like that, put that block in there. So here, into, yeah, definitely feel the pressure in my knee quad. My kneecap kind of over my left toes. Push down into, and then out of. Yeah, those are very solid. Yeah, I like those. 70%, I like 90 actually. So if I put the block in there, we do this here. So you said,
that's your 70%.
yeah, that was good. So when I take my setup here, if they don't have a yoga block, it's like a cut in half tennis
ball. I've got students at home who have just cut a tennis ball in half. Anything really, even if you can grab a little piece of wood, just at home if you do rehearsal swings, just something to raise that foot up and have a platform to push into.
Yeah, just kind of like exaggerate the feel.
Yeah. As soon as you push off a raised surface, you can always amplify how much you push into it. Nice.
Yeah, and so like I'm doing this too. I think with us as coaches, we're comfortable with feeling something a lot. When you guys are doing this at home, in the beginning, like Josh said earlier, that you'd probably be better off over-exaggerating this than under-exaggerating it.
You do a rehearsal swing for me quickly. If you come back to setup, one key there and just one point. Just notice the height of Eric's head as you go. Do you see how you hit down there?
Yeah.
It's okay to hit down because now you've got that platform to be able to push up.
And in a real swing, I'm probably not going to do that.
No, but we will see golfers lower and come up.
Yeah.
But that's so people scared of going down.
Totally.
We've got to be able to generate sharp, we've got to be able to generate power, that's how we're going to do it.
And most golfers we see, they probably go up right away, too fast.
Right away.
Yes, a little bit of lower there would be pretty good.
100%.
Okay, into and out. Pressure into the quad, into and out. Try actually go 70%. Yeah, there's another nice one. I can certainly feel the effects of the pushing into. I think let's just add one little layer, take a quick break, one little layer of the object on it. One of the other things, Giles, we like to do kind of talk us through the object behind for me to like I push into?
For sure. I think when it comes to the rotation, we've got to keep it simple. And that is enough for our brains to manage in terms of the concept. But if I get you to set up to the golf ball here, what I've done is I've placed on the line stick about a foot behind Eric's left glute. Now the key feeling I want you to have is as you push out from that ball of the foot, you want to be trying to close the space up between that left glute and the alignment stick.
Okay.
Now you can see here, you're not even getting close to touching it, but it's a feeling. It gives you that stretch right there. And it pushes the foot back into the heel.
I like that. Let's go ahead and give that a go on 2 reversals. Down into the lead toes, getting that back out. Down into it, and then back out. Let's go ahead and try one, see if that stays up. Yeah, that felt really good too.
Beautiful. And was that swing sort there, did it just help you encourage that movement to go back to the heel?
Totally. I think, you know, if I really push into the ball of that lead foot, a lot of that for free, feels like.
Yeah.
It for sure helps me with a sensation of me pushing that hip up and back and out of the way. Again, when we do those motions, that's the look we're all looking for from down the line. We're like, you see that rotation.
Yeah, of course. And this is where just something as simple as this, you can even imagine out on the golf course, this is a fantastic swing for you to have. Because sometimes focusing on the foot when you're out on the course is too much.
Yeah.
If you watch Eric hit here, he can just have that thought of, right, I'm closing that left hip, the space between it and that line stick up. And you can imagine somebody's got a golf bag behind you, somebody standing behind you on the golf course. It's just a really simple swing.
I love that. And let's, in case you guys are doing this, but I think that's really, really good when they're doing. If someone's doing these things and they're struggling with rotation, right? There's maybe 3, kind of a quick style for them, just to confirm. 3 of the things that we're always looking for: posture, shaft angle, right?
Yeah. So these are kind of our quick things. So I always say push through corner first before you try and rotate, but you can kind of go the other way. If you do this and you show how to rotate, here it is those 3 root positions. The first one is posture, so you could be either too far away and leaning on your toes, you could be too close and sat back on your heels, or you could have a position where there's a lot of curvature to that lower back. That's going to make rotation very difficult. You're going to early tend to get back to balance.
Yeah.
The second one is an open club face. Now, in order for us to turn, we're going to have sharpening. Sharpening in itself opens up the face. So if we already have the face open, our bodies are going to throw the angles out, cause us to stand up from there, no rotation. And the final one is a steep shaft. So in itself, rotation is going to pull the club in front of us. So we've got to make sure that that shaft isn't coming down steep, because we're going to have to stand up and drop it late to get it to the ball. So we want it coming down a little bit shallower. That then pairs up beautifully with rotation.
Yeah, very good. So if you guys are struggling, very well done.
Thank you.
If you guys are struggling with getting rotation and you're doing the drills that we talked about, those would be 3 really big areas to look at. I would say when I'm coaching, 80+% of players who struggle with rotation struggle with one of those 3, right? At least. So it's very rare. Why are you walking you mad? You're a bully. Calm that down. That's rare. There's usually an issue earlier on.
Hello, bully. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. We're going to put y'all's channel with the link description down below. Go check that out. Stay tuned. In our next video, we're going to have more together here in a minute.
Bowie. You're right. You're right, Bowie. You're right.
All right, guys, how to get your right shoulder forward through the ball during the downswing. One of the most important pieces to hit the ball consistently solid. I've got an awesome drill and concept for you today I've been waiting to do since we filmed with Craig, and you saw those videos last month. It's a little add-on to our shoulder tilt I'm going to show you here as the video goes on. I'm really excited about that. But first, we're going to go through the concept of how the trail shoulder works during the backswing and downswing, why it's so important, and then I'll give you that awesome drill that you can use to hit the ball solid. Now, first things first, we look at the trail shoulder. Let's just talk through some of the basics here. Now, when I take my setup position, I got my trail shoulder here where it's set up. And now what we see tighter from the face-on version, if I do a wall up my right shoulder, look from face on, we're going to notice the right shoulder during the backswing has 2 main motions. It's going to work up.
Why is Hallelujah so
around
obsessed with
like
me?
that behind the shoulder. So the right shoulder works up away from the ground, and back behind you. Up, away from the ground, and back behind you. Okay? Now, if that's true, from my setup to the top, that my right shoulder worked up and back around, that means that on the way down, just to get back where I was, I've got to do the reverse of that. Instead of moving up and back around, I've got to move down towards the ground and forward towards the target. Now the trick is that we don't hit the ball at impact from our setup position, do we? Our chest and shoulders are even more open and more forward at impact than they were at setup. Which means not only do I need to reverse what I did on the way back, my trail shoulder went up and back around me, not only does I need to go down and forward just to get back to my setup position, it's got to go even more down and forward to get to a good impact position, right? If I was something like this. Now, why is that so important for the trails and fields? The shoulder going down, the down part, right? It goes up on the way back, it goes down on the way down. The down part serves two distinct functions. Number one, the down part helps get down to the golf ball, meaning get the club low enough to be able to hit the ball first, ground second. Right, you can see my shoulders down and forward, I'm able to have shaft knee, contact. If my shoulder never went down, if it stayed up, the only way to get down to the ball, if I even could, would be to really release my right arm and my right wrist too early. So some of you who have this early release, poor contact, inconsistent game, comes because you don't get your trail shoulder down and forward. The other reason it's important for it to go down, you see this from the down the line angle, is for the club path to work from inside. If my trail shoulder goes up on the way back, and it stays up, we'll show this from both angles, if it stays up on the way down, notice what happens to my club shaft. Where's that come? Very steep and over the top. High right shoulder on the way down, steep shaft. Low right shoulder on the way down, shallow shaft. So some of you that are starting to throw over the top is because your shoulder doesn't go down enough on the way down through. Now, we've also got the forward component, right? Your shoulder goes up and back around. Well, it's going to go down, just cover that, but it also has to go forward towards the target, right? Now, why does it have to go forward? It's got to go forward for the purpose of solid contact. When I get my shoulder forward, that enables me to hit ball first, ground second, and have shaft. Notice when I have my shoulder back, if my shoulder doesn't go forward, even if it goes down, how do I get to the golf ball? Right, I'm going to get lots of fast and pins if my shoulder doesn't go forward. Again, I have to early release my right arm and right wrist just to get to the golf ball. Bad contact, inconsistent. So the solution is down and forward. Now, how much do we do and how do we do it? Well, I've got this little line on the ground here that I built in. And this is from the drill we did with Craig Hansen, where in the backswing, Craig said the left shoulder, the shoulder tilt, should be about 40 degrees. And we'll show Justin Thomas here from the down the line. You can see the shoulder tilt on the way back, the yellow line, is about 40 degrees. You draw a line from my shoulders down to those golf balls. But the downswing, here's the key, the downswing, the right shoulder, the shoulder tilt needs to be steeper, more down, more vertical relative to the backswing. Roughly speaking, like Craig said, for the math geeks out there, we like 40 degrees on the way back, about 55 on the way down. Okay, so more down or steeper. Now, in terms of the forward part, we want to see the right shoulder get forward to the point where it gets in line with the golf ball by about the time the right arm is parallel to the ground and follow through. And we'll show you the old tiger for that one. So from the top, it goes up and back. And then as we start to come down, the shoulder goes forward to the point where it gets in line with the golf ball by arms parallel, not way back behind them. So we need the right shoulder to go down forward because it went up and back on the way back. We need to go down to be able to have solid contact to get to the ball and swing from inside. We need to go forward to move our low point forward to reduce any fats and thins and get that shaft moving. Specifically, we want the shoulders to turn down at about a 55-degree angle. Like how far down should they go? About 55 degrees. Steeper or inside that wall on the way down. How far forward? About in line with the golf ball when their right arm's parallel to the ground. Say, Eric, that sounds great. How do I practice that? Luckily for you, I've got lots of good drills. My favorite one that I like to do, my favorite one is to put your club across your shoulders with the butt of the club about here on the left shoulder and the club to the right with the club face pointed up, just like this. So when I take my posture, the leading edge is tilted down about the same as my spine angle. Now what I like to do, right, you can make a backswing where you get that left shoulder feel like it's about at that wall. And when you come down, I actually want you to feel your right shoulder with that club face, like that's pointed right behind the golf ball. So if I close my left eye and keep my right eye open, that club literally looks right behind the golf ball. Now this is slightly exaggerated. Okay, if we drew a line down my shoulders right down to the ground, this is slightly exaggerated. That should probably point out here somewhere. But that's the point. If your shoulder's not going down enough, it needs to feel exaggerated. Okay, it needs to feel exaggerated. Now, when we made the backswing tilt, okay, if we reference this ball line here, Craig said to put this golf ball, about a meter outside the first ball. It's about the backswing tilt. And he said, put the first ball just behind the setup ball. And I like that because that gives you simultaneously the correct amount of tilt you need, how far down should my left shoulder go, and the turn, how far back. It should point at about that first golf ball. Now, I like to use that the opposite way for the downswing, in that not only does my shoulder need to go down, how much? Like the club's about at the golf ball, which in reality is going to point somewhere here inside the wall. But I also want to make sure it gets forward of this ball here, so I get the rotation part, right, the forward part. So I'm not only going down, but I'm going forward. I make sure it points forward. Now, as I'm doing that drill, there's two key feels. Number one is a right side oblique crunch, and number two is getting the trail knee forward. So when we're doing this drill together, let's do this together. Take our normal setup. Again, you don't need to get this far down. Okay, it's a little exaggerated, but like Craig says, the closer you get to the checkpoints, the better you hit. The closer you get, the better you hit. So if you can't physically go the whole way, a little bit of improvement is still going to help our ball strength. So as we get this club down the line right behind the golf ball, I'm feeling my whole right side oblique crunching. And if you can't get in line with the golf ball, get a little bit outside of it. That's totally fine. Just make sure it's inside this wall, like that Justin Thomas model, as close as you can get. I'm feeling my right side oblique crunching. Notice my right knee. The second piece of the puzzle is I'm allowing my right knee to go forward. Just like Craig said in one of our other videos, we're trying to get the knee about in line with the golf ball when I get my body to this position. When I'm getting my body to this position in the real hit, this is like past it. Okay, that's where I'm feeling. My arms would be out in front. Right side oblique crunch, shoulder down and forward, right knee to the golf ball. So I like one or two of those little feels. Right shoulder down, right knee forward. Notice my right knee is working towards my left knee. My right knee's not working forward towards the ball, all of a sudden my shoulder's too far back. My right knee's working forward towards my left knee or the target. In line with the golf ball, as I have that right side crunch. So I'm going to do one or two rehearsals, get a feel there, and I'm going to feel the same thing. Right shoulder down, right knee forward. My goal is for this to get my right shoulder down and forward for consistent, solid contact. Right side oblique crunch, right knee forward. And that, as you like for me to say, is as good as I could possibly hit my Tacoma 101 7. I'm going to steal a ball from the back of this wall here, and we'll plug different. Tacoma, no big deal. And I'm going to practice that same thing. I'm going to feel my right side crunching as my right knee goes forward towards my left. My right side crunching as my right knee goes forward towards my left. Nodding towards the ball, towards my left. Towards my left. Right side oblique crunch, right knee in towards the left. This is true for all clubs. Right side oblique crunch, right knee in towards the left. Okay, one one quick caveat for you guys with this. As your trail shoulder goes down and forward, and your upper body and your right side of your rib cage is going to feel closer to the ground, A, you probably won't actually be as close to the ground as you feel. But B, if you do literally lower, remember I said earlier, if your shoulder stays up too high or back too far, that both of those would mean that you need to prematurely straighten your right arm and right wrist to get to the golf ball. Meaning you're really lengthening that out. Now, what a good ball striker would do, what we need to do as the shoulder goes down and forward, since I'm not so far from the ground, if I keep lengthening my right arm and wrist, I'm going to hit fat behind the ball. So, usually what you need to do with this, which is good, is as your trail shoulder is working down and forward and your rib cage feels closer to the ground, your trail arm is going to feel a little more bent through impact, and your trail wrist might feel like it's a little bit bent, a little bit longer. Is that too much to do at one time? Definitely not. Do you need to do that? Only if you're hitting it back when you feel your shoulder down. Okay, is it okay to do those at the same time? Absolutely, that's what the best ball striker do. So as my shoulder's going down and forward, right side crunch, right? As my knee, my right knee's working in towards the left, boom, look at that, that feels so good. I see my hips are rotating. Right, I'm feeling my shoulder down, we're right knee forward in line with the golf ball. Looks like my right arm and wrist stay a little bit more bent, a little bit longer to the impact. Right oblique crunch, right knee forward. Yeah, and there's my side draw seven. So, right shoulder down and forward is a really, really, really key part of the downswing. Really key. Okay, if you want solid, consistent contact. Now, if you have any questions about this, leave me a comment down below. We'd love you to subscribe. If you subscribe to the channel, that really, really helps us out. Click that like button. If you want to get private coaching, right, you can't come fly and see me in person, because we're on golf.com. Send your swings in there. I find a lot of the people we're working with aren't improving because you're not really finding and fixing the true root cause of your swing. But once we're able to do that, we're able to improve fast, and it's permanent. That's what we're doing at golf.com for a fraction of the price, with literally the best online golf coaches in the world. We'd love to see you there for the link down here below. Thank you guys for watching. Alright guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you something I did with a recent student of mine on how to hinge the club and set the club properly during the golf swing that will make things very simple for you. There's 3 key checkpoints and one really big key that you must do, and I'm going to show you in today's video. It's going to really help you simplify your golf swing. Let's dive right in. Alright guys, so I had a recent student come in asking me about hinging the wrist during the golf swing. That's a misconception. And credit to Mike Alaska, he had watched Mike's video. Mike did a great video on wrist setting. I just want to give a couple of things here for you guys that I gave my students. And basically when it comes to hinging the wrist and doing the backswing, I sort of have one of 2 ways I can go that I see with students that come in. I can hinge the club correctly during the backswing in an easy way that makes the rest of the swing really simple. Or I can do some things as I go back in various ways to hinge the club that makes things very difficult. Both of those options can work, but doing it the way that I'm going to show you will make it much likely, higher likelihood that it works, and much more simple throughout the swing. Now there's 3 key checkpoints and one really, really important factor that we'll talk about. The 3 things I want to make sure you do, and then we'll go through each one during the backswing. We have to learn how to get the left wrist from being cupped or bent here at setup to flat. That's a big one. We need to be able to hinge the club vertically to about 90 to 100 degrees by this left arm parallel. And we need to be able to hinge the club relatively on plane, which means the butt of the club points right at or just inside this ball target line. All 3 of those. Left wrist needs to go from cup to flat. I need to hinge the club vertically about 90 to 100 degrees. And I need to have the club basically on an angle that's on plane. If I can do all 3 of those, I'm going to have a really easy time for the rest of my swing. But any one of those that's off means more work later on. And the drill that I showed my student was really to help clarify that one shred, right? The one piece that's so important. And what makes this hard is when you take your setup position and you hold it with your lead hand. Depends a little bit on your grip style, but we're going to have some amount of angle or cup in my wrist that's set up from the face-on angle, while from the down-the-line angle, the club is relatively unhinged. So we'll pull Adam Scott as a model, let's say 140 or 145 degrees. Okay. Now, when I make my backswing, I need to add vertical hinge to my wrist to the point where the shaft gets to about a 90-degree angle by left arm parallel. But when you do this, and I want you to do this with your left hand, hinge your left wrist up towards your face. And what happens to that angle in your wrist? For most of us, that angle is going to get even bigger. Even bigger. Meaning this cup that I had it set up gets even more cupped. The more I hinge my wrist up, the more cupped the wrist gets. Now that's a problem when I make a swing with some forearm rotation because the club face is always going to be too open. Okay, so just to give you a visual, when my left wrist stays up with arm rotation during the backswing, which we all have, when I hinge my wrist, it cups more. When I do it on the way back with arm rotation, the face is always going to be open. Okay, so if I bring that down, you see the toe is too far behind the heel. That means a lot more work later on. So from this position, while we hinge that wrist up, we need to be able to flatten out that lead wrist angle. That's the trick of it. That's what keeps the club face square during the backswing. Now, why do we need to hinge the club vertically at all? It's really for two reasons. One's for power. Okay, so if I have this 140-degree angle, during the takeaway, not a ton of hinging, maybe a little bit of hinging. Okay, by the time he gets to left arm parallel, he's at that 90. As he finishes his turn, he gets to about 75. But the reason I need to be able to hinge that up on the way back is so that I can unhinge it on the way down. And that's a power source. Imagine I make a golf swing where I keep this 140-degree angle the whole time. Okay, I can still hit a ball like this, but there's very little power. Like if I try and literally keep that wrist hinge the same the whole way, I hit a full swing 7-iron in there, probably 120 yards. When I have my wrist hinge, and I go up and down, and try and do the same thing, that 7-iron now goes like 180 yards. So the wrist has to hinge up and down for speed purposes. The other reason it needs to hinge is what goes up must come down. Meaning that first ball I hit, I don't know if you noticed, is very thin. The second ball I hit is very solid. Because the ball's on the ground with an iron, I need the club head to travel some amount down to hit the ball. Ball first, ground second. For me to get my wrist to hinge down to hit the ball, I have to have gone there. Up. So I have wrist hinge for power and to be able to hit the ball solid. But again, if you hold it with your left hand, that cup increases. And that's where the trail hand really comes in. Now you can feel with either one, but what I really want you to feel during the swing, this is the drill, is I want you to be able to take your left hand and hinge the club up towards your face and hinge it down and hit the mat. This is what I did with my student. I'll back up from the ball. So up towards you to about 90 degrees, hit the ground. 2, 3. That's about how much hinge I'm looking for. If I want to get to that 75 like Adam Scott, I'll go just past parallel. Up and down. Hear what your left wrist is doing. Your left wrist is controlling the up and down motion. Now, if that's true, when I go back, I can feel that same motion where I go just straight up, but how do I flatten out? That's where the right hand comes in. So I want you to do 3 with this left hand, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now take your right hand, now you're going to feel no up and down with your right hand, I just want you to feel back. Back means your knuckles towards the back of your form. So the hand's just going straight back this way with your right hand. And I'm doing that from about setup to left arm parallel. Okay? So right hand goes back. Now notice as I'm doing that, where's the club here? It's about 90 degrees to my arm. And where's the butt of the club ball? Basically right at the ball target. So there's an angle I'm trying to hinge on. Right? We want to pull that list back up. We want the left wrist flat. We want the club about 90 hinge, and we want it on point. So what I'm going to do, we'll work through this drill here, and how I want you to practice this is I want you to feel the left hand going up and down, and I want you to feel the right hand going back and forth separate, and then we're going to retain those feels together. So if you can do this, pause the video, come back and watch it, or just kind of feel this with me. Let's go up and down with the left wrist, just beyond 90 is fine. Up, down, 1, 2, 3. Thud the mat, don't be afraid of that. That's the piece that's going to help you hit the ground in the downside. If you're not taking enough divot, or you're unable to hit the ground, you can do that piece more. So up and down 3 times, right wrist goes back. No up motion at all, just back. So I'm kind of feeling like my palm is facing towards the camera. The back of my knuckles are going towards the back of my forearm. It feels a little bit like the club face is more pointed towards the camera. Certainly, the toes in front of the heel. So we'll do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Always hitting 90 degrees, always on plane. Now, once I do 3 of each individually, I'm going to put my hands together and feel the same thing. Feel the left wrist go up and the right wrist back. Now, when I'm pulling my right wrist back, what is that doing to this cup in my wrist? It's flattening. So you flatten your left wrist by pulling back your right wrist. You want to push your right wrist about almost as fast as you can get it. Left wrist goes up, right wrist goes back. Left wrist goes up, right wrist goes back. Hinging the club about to 90 degrees and right on plane, just inside this ball target. Just so you can see that, and we'll put some models on the screen. If I was doing that here, left wrist goes up, right wrist goes back. That's going to point right at it, just inside the ball. Okay? So what I want you to do is hit some shots where you feel that. 3 just left hand, 3 just right hand, 3 together, hit a ball. Whoa, that's 9 practice swings. And 1 hit. Yeah, I did a good 10-ball practice set. Now when I hit, I'm going to feel the same thing. Left wrist goes up, right wrist goes back. And in terms of amounts, and there's a nice high 7-iron draw. In terms of amounts, kind of what that in Scott model. You know, roughly 90 to 100 degrees by left arm parallel. And then from that spot, say, well, what do I do from there? Really just keep turning. Technically speaking, from here, my students say, what do I do from here? I said, well, just finish your turn. And it'll naturally continue hinging a little. It'll go from, let's say, 90 degrees to 75. And there'll be a little bit of folding of your trail arm. Why that'll happen by itself? The simplified version is just keep your swing. The more complicated is keep turning, keep folding your trail arm a little bit, right? So you want to focus on those same pieces. Left wrist up and down. Right wrist back. This is taking care of the club face. With the contact with,
You know, I feel like I've watched a couple videos.
you're going to want to either bottom out behind the ball or gain free access to the, so that in a minute when I ask you to shift forward, it has to feel all right, guys, if you're someone who's good at a bit more up and down, but of course there's more to the story, right? And part of what's more to the story is how the body works. He's there. I actually have the opposite issue, right? He's like, in that video we were talking about, maybe you're good with your irons because you're steep, and you need to go more around with your driver shallowed out. He said, I'm actually darn good with my driver, but I struggle with my irons. And so we looked at his video, his swing on video in our lesson, and he had the same issue that I had, which is we weren't using our lead side or moving our lead side correctly with the irons. What do I mean here? When I've got this iron in my hand, I've got the ball teed up just for simplicity. I actually left this divot here from our previous video we filmed, so you can see the visual of where the ball is and how the club is entering into the turf. When we've got an iron here, We know that we want to get the club head to do what? We want it to travel down. We want it to hit the ball first, and we want it to hit the ground second past this golf ball. Like this divot in front, right? To compress it. The ball's sitting on the ground. We've got to hit down on it to get it to go up and off that. But what happens when we have our driver, right? Let's say we've got the ball teed up. Do we want to hit down on this driver just like with the iron? Obviously not, right? Because we're starting with a different spot. With the driver, we want the club head to hit level or slightly up to maximize how far we hit the golf ball. Especially the slower your club head speed, the more important it is to get the ball to still travel far. Now, if that's true, one of these clubs I need to hit down more. One of them I need to hit up. I've got to move my body a little different. In fact, him on TrackMan was very similar to me. With a 7-iron, we had this club travel about 5 or 6 degrees down at the moment of impact. The low point of the swing was about 4 inches ahead of the ball. So I had the club head traveling down with the low point forward. With the driver, we had the low point behind the ball, and it was traveling up about 3 degrees. So it's an 8-degree difference angle of attack. Now, how can I have my body in the same position in the downswing, yet move my angle of attack 8 degrees? And the answer is you can't. Okay, so the concept here is all about how the lead side of my body works. And we're going to create this wall on the screen and show you some images where during the downswing, if I want to be a good iron ball striker, hit ball first, ground second, compress the ball, a huge key is that this line that's at my lead shoulder, call that the sort of impact wall here, I need to be able to get my lead shoulder past that line through impact, we'll say at impact and past impact. I need to break this wall with my lead shoulder during the downswing. That means my lead shoulder with an iron is going to travel more down and forward for longer. When my lead shoulder travels more down and forward for longer, that helps the club head travel more down and forward. Okay, think about the club head's going to follow the lead shoulder. I want the club head to go down and forward, the lead shoulder goes down. As my lead shoulder goes down and forward, where's my chest at? That's also out of passing ball. Covering the ball. My head moves slightly forward. That's key piece number one. Now, me, back in the day, the student I had, did the opposite of that with the driver. Okay? So with the driver, we show some good images on there. What do we want to do? Well, now we no longer want to break that wall. Now with the driver, we want the club head to travel up through that. Iron, lead shoulder goes down and forward for longer. Driver, we don't want the lead shoulder to get back to the wall ever. Iron, the shoulder breaks through the wall. Driver, the shoulder stays back. When the shoulder works more up and back, that club head works more up and through. Okay? To hit up on the ball. So the student that I had, if you live on this category of kind of better with the driver, you don't compress the irons, you need to focus on getting the lead shoulder to break through the wall. That means your lead shoulder needs to feel like it travels down and forward for longer. The drill we did, and there's a million drills to do, we kept this one pretty simple, and you can try this one here, is put a club across your shoulders with the majority of the club to the left, so the grip end is towards the target. And I said to the gentleman who was there, let's make a little backswing. Now, feel your grip, right, and again, it can be something exaggerated, but feel the grip end of the club work down and forward to the point where it points at least a foot in front of the golf ball. If I did it incorrectly, I would go up right away, and that starts to point up towards the sky. I want it to, it's down at the top of my backswing. You'll notice on both these, right, that it's certainly turned behind the golf ball. But from here, it goes down and forward. Down and forward. Almost like my chest gets back to the golf ball. Down and forward. Down and forward. I'm just feeling that motion start. And my goal with that down and forward motion, feels like the weight's going into my lead foot, shoulders working forward, and my head's also working forward slightly with this as well. The goal is hit more down on the ball, right? If you're good at the driver without the irons, create that compression, shoulder works, and then we compress a nice little 7-iron, about a 2-yard cut, just slightly right of my target line. Solid compression, right? Ball first, ground second. So the more you want to create compression and hit down on your irons, the more you want your lead shoulder to work down and forward. You see the Adam Scott, how he clearly breaks through the wall at and past impact before he starts working up and back around with the lead shoulder, down and forward. Now, we added a little visual, an extra little layer. I also put a little club inside his heel line at the setup position, just to represent where the lead shoulder line works. So we did this drill with the club across. We're turning back and we're working down and forward. Down and forward. Get this a couple feet in front of the golf ball. I also said just in general, hey, let's put a club inside your left heel, kind of representing the inside part of the shoulder. And I want you to feel like when you come down, and when I make a back swing, shoulder obviously works back away from the target, full turn. I want you to, I can see the club in my peripheral here. I want to get my shoulder to make sure it works forward of that during the downswing. Or you can use your left ankle here. Get the lead shoulder working forward of that as I go down. And so that's just a little added sensation to feel the same thing. So more compression with the irons, more lead shoulder down forward. And there's two really nicely solidly struck iron shots. Okay, so if we want to hit the irons better, create more compression, remember the lead shoulder breaks through the wall. With the driver now, okay, if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, and not like my student and I, and you need to hit the driver better, we need to learn how to actually keep the lead shoulder from breaking through the line. Said different, right? It's setup, if we draw that line of the shoulder like Justin Thomas, we make a backswing, we're going to turn that lead shoulder back. Now, as it comes down, it does go forward, right? If we look at both the players at about hands hip high, Adam Scott's got his shoulder out on the line, Justin Thomas suddenly behind it. But from there through impact's the key difference. From there through impact, Justin Thomas with the driver, look at his shoulder. That works up and back. Whereas Adam Scott with the iron works more down and forward. So with the iron, the chest stays more on top of the hips. The shoulder works more forward and down. The driver, the chest stays back of the hips. The shoulder works more up and back. Okay, so if you're on the opposite end, you just flip the drill. Instead of with the iron, you put the grip on the left, you'd feel that working down and forward. Down and forward. Look at the driver, that would be chaos, right? I get too far down, the ball will go nowhere. Instead, I'm going to feel the same thing from here. I'm going to get this behind the golf ball. Good backswing turn. And then almost right away, it won't happen right away on camera, but almost right away, we want to feel this grip end now work up and back. Now notice as it's working up and back, my lead shoulder, up and back, never breaking through that front wall. Justin Thomas, his head locks slightly away from the target as he does it. His hips are still going forward. The shoulder's working up and back. The hips are going forward, but the head stays back, the chest works up. And if I feel that lead shoulder working up on the way through, then I can get the angle of attack working slightly more up through the golf ball. So here I'll feel good setup, get my lead shoulder working up and back in the downswing. And there's a really high, straight, little buttercut. I'm going to do more of that. Little buttercut driver to hit more up. Notice what? No divot on that one, right? Hitting up on the ball, maximizing how far we hit it. So if you want to be a good driver of the ball, it's essential that that shoulder stays more back. Now, as I stay more back with the shoulder, right, I don't have my hips and my weight all the way back. My hips, and Justin Thomas we can show on the screen, are still pushing up and forward. My chest is still pushing up towards the sky. Your head can actually move away from the target slightly. But the shoulder never gets through that line. Shoulder stays back. Hips push forward. The shoulder stays back. Shoulder up and back. We'll do the same thing here, one more. Good setup. Shoulder up and back of the driver. And there's two really solid drives there I will take. Okay, so I need a little bit more of that as well. So it depends on what end of the spectrum you've done, okay? But if you're good with the irons, but not the driver, you probably need more of the shoulder up and back. If you're good with the driver, but not the irons, you probably need more of the shoulder down and forward to hit those irons better. See which end of the spectrum you are, give that one a try, and really help your ball stroke.
information and such a wealth of like videos and all the different webinars and all the different instructional tools. It's just such a tremendous amount of value, I feel. I'm Jeff Makepeace. I'm here in St. Paul, Minnesota. It was just the swing analysis where I can get feedback specific to how I swing the golf ball and how I hit the ball. I think that would be worth as much or more than I'm paying right now. But the comprehensive.
Shut up, dummy.
Yeah, there you go. You watch it, especially when you lost the possession.
Back to the Arizona community. Kansas State football get back on Tuesday in partnership with Matthews Crossing, which is a nonprofit organization fighting against cancer. They packed 1,200 bags of food for students at schools across the valley. And for Rutgers, how about this? They built 3 little libraries.
Fuck you. God damn it.
For the Arizona community. Really cool stuff they've done off the field.
John? Jesus Christ, thank you.
So after a big stop defensively time, K-State wasted no time. Wasted no time, and it needed more creativity. And really well done design run. But it's also in the open field. And so guard tackle counter with the back going opposite. Still never on 5'9", 169 pounds. Outrunning everybody. Vasco and Laundry for the neighborhood, but at no change. 147 now on Dylan carries for Edwards. And the Wildcats going for 2, and Nate Black has acquired an official's timeout to Grace Young. Chris Kleiman not happy at all here because he had play ready to go. Yeah, and they were getting off the line of scrimmage quickly. I think that's trying to say it was an issue with the headset communication. Chris Kleiman took on hand. No. There's a conspiracy notion there. These headsets have been turned off. Okay, so I want to say about Mr. Klein. So, just heard that no more coastal clarification. And the K-State fans that are here, not very happy that Rutgers was lingering as they to go for 2. Dylan Edwards in the backfield, he's the solo back. That's Edwards in motion. Avery Johnson looks, looks like he has off line. He's trying to get it to and now all of a sudden, Chris Kleiman is down 11 and not 9. So the missed 2 points, we'll see how long that moves. Here with the final 20 minutes of chase to go in.
Sure, I love that play call there either. I would have loved them to try to move the pocket a little bit. And the wide side of the field, utilize Avery Johnson, get out of the perimeter, feel like he can always tuck and run. Just didn't seem to be a lot of go-to options with clear-cut reads in front. You see quad foot to the bottom of your screen, that's the wide receivers. And they're going to bring Dylan Edwards across the formation. But initially, Avery Johnson doesn't see number 3 right there. He's got him in front of him. Then comes back to the field side.
Okay. So Avery Johnson was down at 19 for the touchdown interception. And Dylan Edwards is 12 carries, 147. And it's an 11-point lead for Rutgers. So 17 play when they started. And there's not going to be one here tonight, so therefore, we're going to throw the game back and usually see if K-State can go get another defensive stop. And we get a break on the deep to the end zone. Now, I think both gentlemen got standings broken by progressive. Probably awarded to the conference with the best winning percentage in the postseason. Earlier today, the Thru picked up their third. The only loss back so far in postseason play. Herman Montgomery won the first bowl game of the year. South Alabama beat Washington. They got three left. The ACC hitless in 4 games. With 9 to go. Big 12 just getting started. Kansas State the second of the 9 to go for that league. Remember the ACC and the SEC led the bowl rosters in the postseason. First down again. Raymond in trouble taking that. Wildcats get there with Romaine. The talented middle linebacker, they didn't stop. The 8th tackler of the year coming in for Connors Club. This defense for Kansas State has been really aggressive, particularly off the edge. Also some really good pressure. Gets Ray stopped in his tracks. Another negative play for this Rutgers offense. That pass. Just the 9th lost turnover of the year for Rutgers, Tom. Yeah, this is just a downright throw here for Valley fans. He's rolling, drifting to his left. You just lose a lot of momentum and arm power, and then you get somebody undercutting Cobbs. He doesn't see him trailing late on the deep crossing route. Somewhere in that melee there's that late hit in the back. Still maintain possession of the football. Chris Klein is not happy about it. He's got the ball. Rutgers now on this. They lost their rhythm a little bit offensively in their last 2 drives. They lost 16 yards. And now they're down on that with the interception. Johnson and the Wildcats trying to get back in it. Here's Dylan Edwards trying to run behind the left side of that offensive line. That's guilty and answer. Kyle makes the stop. You can see that 57-year-old Chris Klein from Waterloo, Iowa. Now his 6th year at a little apple with 47 wins is trying to see if his team can take one more step in the comeback. Here's Johnson, Brown all the way down to his right, and he'll send it out of that to the Rutgers bench. Boy, Jordan Thompson ran a long play, not great helping. What Big Thompson at 273 pounds. Fighting Parsippany Hills High School, Parsippany, New Jersey, was every bit the equal of Edgar Johnson. Well, he was right there. I'll tell you, 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7, a heck of a lot better than 3rd and 17. Smart play by Edgar Johnson. Here goes in that sequence. And Johnson kept it. First down, 15-yard line, held down on the angle tackle by Lloyd. Attacking with his feet is Edgar Johnson. We haven't seen him run much, Tom. No, we haven't. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of it. Taylor Poitier, 69. Just kind of the shovel pull when he leaves up. And then just stretch the field horizontally. He gets north and south. We talked about this coming on air today. Really surprised we haven't seen a heavier dose of this from Edgar Johnson. They tend to Malcolm Ray. Way into one of our crew members. Caught a little fire. play.
You got to keep your head on swivel. Don't be standing around the pocket.
That's true. The idea here. Okay, Dirk.
He's ready.
There we go.
Got it.
Now they're back and ready for duty.
Throw some dirt on.
There you go. Remember when Chris Klein talked to us and so did Connor Riley a little bit about we want to minimize how much he runs if we can. And now we have a time and place at the beginning where you're trying to make a comeback and being 17 down.
And you have that, and the best player on the field got to touch the ball on every snap, right? So you're going to have a couple of things happen with emotion like we saw right there. The emotion with Dante Cephas across the formation, spread Rutgers thin, and see the numbers, nothing beautiful, of course, through the air, but effective nonetheless on the ground.
Interesting, when you look at the stat line, albeit Avery Johnson or even Nathan Kelly at Manasquan, stats can be deceiving here. These guys have played better than the numbers might indicate.
Right. I think both of them have made one bad decision. It resulted in a turnover. The rest, it hasn't been poor decision making or errant throws. Just been a little bit aggressive. Both of these defenses have been aggressive. Really put some pressure on both quarterbacks.
So first and 10 at the 13 of Rutgers for Wildcats. The running back is Jackson. Johnson sets, throws, that's caught, down, it's a touchdown. And it's Garrett Oakley, the tight end, who's in the end zone if it stands. And it's going to be on Rutgers.
Watching the pass, holding, defense.
Big touchdown catch of the year for Oakley. Second straight ball game. The big fellow from Columbus, Nebraska is in the end zone.
And they got Masco at the corner for hold and grab, and the outside receiver for Kansas State that really didn't have anything to do with the outcome of the play. Tight end's coming across. Oakley makes the catch, hit across the goal line.
So the TD pass, 13 yards, another K-State tight end in the end zone.
See what they do here. See if they move the pocket a little bit.
2-point try again. Oh, he hits Cephas. He dropped it. Wow. Dante Cephas had it. He was trying to peek around the corner. Tom, as you said, you got to see the ball and catch the ball.
Exactly right. It's a really good throw. Get the ball in your hands quickly on the underneath screen. He knows he's got a touchdown. You watch his head turn right upfield. He's not securing the football. Ooh, that would have been tough right there at the goal line. Sky Howard, we've talked about multiple times. Right in the hat.
Yep. So instead, it's a 5-point game. With 3:29 to go in the third. We were just having kind of a little sleepy third quarter, to be honest. It went down all of a sudden 2 minutes ago. Things kind of went sideways. Home run from Dylan Edwards, off the play, 65 yards, and then Callahan Dennis on the second possession. Rutgers throws the pick, and now top 4 they're in the end zone with a 15
Joe Flannery, defensive coordinator, Kansas State, the rescue series. Really proud of the line of scrimmage. Got aggressive. They created, they were playing on first and second down. And then third and long.
Maybe since his defense back down, it's number one of focus is going to be a combination of Raymond Benjamin that is trying to fill the shoes of Cal.
And Raymond Benjamin is a sophomore, futures right in the backfield. Despite the accomplishment in the career of Kyle the young guy, tonight is just a little advanced and sneak peek. What the Big Ten's going to see in 2025 on offense. We talked about the youth receivers, quarterbacks making plays, and the good core unit coming back.
Here's Callahan Dennis for Minnesota transfer to the other side, and Raymond taken down after a yard. Austin Moore, what a fitting for
Austin Moore and Austin Romaine, both of them, really good playing off the blocks. That's been the difference. That's 3 straight drives now where Kansas State's won on the early down. And that is twice now he's done that versus Strong on the slant route where he has been all over him. Got his left hand on the hip, swiping that right arm in front of the football. Nowhere for Cali Miss to put the ball in again. Third straight, third and long. 3 straight series for this Rutgers offense. Scored on 9, 6 and 10 in third half.
Bowie, is that you? That's Yui, Bowie? What's up, Bowie? Come on. Come on, Bowie. What are you doing, Bowie?
Where the Wildcats will get going. And all of a sudden, Avery Johnson, after watching their defense hold Rutgers to 2-3 outs and an interception time, Avery Johnson comes to the field now with a chance to put K-State back in front with a touchdown.
And keep Rutgers guessing a little bit. If you can just have Avery Johnson have a keep or two per series, really open things up and bit of backfield action in the motion that is spread Rutgers thin side on the side and created some of those big gaps going inside.
Dylan Edwards again picks up the first down. 41-yard line. Esco. I say 41 for going to the house. Or 100 yards for going to the house now.
Well, once again, it's the exact same play that was the touchdown. Guard, tackle, counter. Dylan Edwards proving his worth. Got the whole of the carries tonight. Along with Joe Jackson, the redshirt freshman, getting 2 young backs for both of these teams.
Johnson with time.
Dude.
And try to fire across the field. No flag thrown on the ball intended for big break off to the tight end. Esco is there defensively for Rutgers.
Let's take a look at this again over the middle of the field. It's right in front of the back judge. We'll see the Rutgers defender pull down the right arm. That's Velasco. Avery Johnson likes to see a call there.
Second down the full 10. Brown in motion. They're going to hand it here to Edwards again. And see the Rutgers defender. Good tackle there. That's Keontae Hamilton. So now third down and maybe a long 7 for K-State.
Hello, Boogie.
Wildcats trying to win for a 9th time. It would be 3 straight 9-win seasons for Christmas. Haven't done that since a stretch of time from 93 to 2000. 2-2 here on third down. Johnson to throw. Goes to the right, backs up, trying to the right. Almost picked. Chipotle off the deflection. Kyle Sanders almost had the second Avery Johnson turnover of the day.
Avery Johnson's working to the short side of the field here, and there's nobody there at all. But Dante Cephas is in the area that he's covered. What a huge down to get off the field for Rutgers on defense, up by 5. Third quarter winding down here. Series after a hot Kansas State in the last 3 years.
The ball off to the punt here. Rebel will driving the play on choices for the first way. Now here's Christian Drill. Near side. Here goes Field. One thing to be. And he's shot that around to the 21st. But Hunter McClellan saves the touchdown.
Where you going?
Yard return of a 42-yard punt. Best punt return of the year, certainly for Thru. And now off the 18-yard line, Rutgers, with an explosive in special teams, has a chance to extend their 5-point advantage. Reagan, get it back there. 16 for Austin from Maine. Kansas State Riders. Now our final minute here in Thru.
What are you thinking? Holy.
So the teams will switch ends. They'll go back down to the first baseline. Here for corner 4 at Chase Field in downtown Memphis. And what was once a 17-point Rutgers lead in this third quarter has been cut down to 5. The Great Bowl delivering on a Thursday night in the Valley of the Sun. More Rutgers next after this.
Join me as I get seeking invent. No, but we can make them work. Drum roll, please. How do you use the seek feature?
It just needs one full walking of you. Don't buy those.
What if I'm unsurvivable?
Buy those.
Join me as I bore you to death with a series of interviews on a TV app that just does what it's supposed to do.
The thing you want right to what? You know you're going to what? Still. Great problem.
That's rough. But I got you hang on. Like a good name must take from his head. Orange roast beef sandwich. Now $4.10.
Lead is an invisible threat that's especially unsafe for young children. But there is one sure way to know if your child is being exposed to lead. Talk to their doctor about blood lead tests today.
Scientists and engineers that support the exploration of the water is just.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you. We can develop groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you impact the world. Whether you're on campus or
And this is a talented football player living in Austin, Romania. Who is a sophomore from Hillsborough, Missouri. First time he was telling us the story time later. Knocked down on the fact that a year ago he had to play as a true freshman. Probably earlier than they wanted him to play. But they're seeing the benefits of it. Oh yeah. As a sophomore. Yeah, they're starting with that. It's okay. You're gonna have to roll out. Let the back come down. They're the guy now. That's enough to get copied by the entire world of college football starting in 2025 and none sooner. Outstanding execution. Behind the back handoff, Callahan Manis after he gets the snap. Handed off to his true freshman running back. So the lead now all the way to 12. And Mattel's point is good. 41-29 now. Early here in the fourth. After the punt return by Thru, 5 plays later, Scarlet Knights and Anthem.
The Rate app is designed to empower you in your pursuit of well-being and longevity. Our goal is to provide a completely free app that helps you minimize your stress and improves your overall health. We have a team of expert instructors who are here to teach and support you on how to live a longer and happier life. From yoga with Robin to meditation with Dr. Deepak Chopra, our instructors guide you through new classes updated daily. Come take one of our many classes today. Let's go. Download the Rate app and start living your best life.
This season, Hamilton had a big team. In the largest blood donation competition of our lifetime to fight the greatest blood shortage in a generation. Students, parents, and alumni prove that team spirit is in there. Together, saving as many as 60,000 lives is a career. Blood.
I checked 2 bags on Southwestern 3. That's a lot of shit. Can't get this for 3 ounces. This is GolfBarn, baby. Yes. Try it.
2 bags fly free. That's a big flex.
Team, it's been wide, but I think the nation will. So much safer. Who's ready to show who the cheese
Six tasty, tender dog treats compared to every adventure. From hard to peak, wherever you go, don't forget the Six. Six dog treats. Choose your adventure.
Back here in Phoenix, Okay. Now, which way do you go from here? Well, I'm going left. That's a shot. I didn't look for the ball. That's on. That's a smoke. Yeah. That's a whiskey creek that leads to Lake Vernon. How about the running backs? Antoine Raven, showstopper, 3 touchdowns, that's a career high, 110 yards likewise, 16 carries. Dylan Edwards, staking claim as well. Ravens, 3 rushing scores, by the way, time 8 goal record. Here's North Prairie, 8 blocks. Edwards there as he breaks the 25, the ball pop loose. Let's see what we have here. Big block right from the exit center. So, Avery Johnson and the Wildcats backed up there. The head coach at Little Apple not happy at all. But this team now down 12. With a change going in the punt. It's only the 4th penalty that's been assessed on either team right tonight. 3 for Kansas State now, and just 1 for Rutgers. Stevens, Jackson, and Brown here to the near side. Joe Jackson, running back. Got turned inside over there at the edge. And that was goal basket corner. And Hamilton got out. I'm impressed with the physicality of both corners here. Oh, yeah. Especially in the run game. I think all 4 corners for both of these teams, Robert Dean and Pascal Rogers, as we talked about, and then Justice James and Tayshawn Rich, freshman, Keith guard. But really good second right. Avery Johnson turned the corner. Makes a good shot to the other thigh. Timber. Drop the shoulder at the 21. It would be 3rd down, 22-yard line, 3rd about 3. Sanders from the Rutgers secondary. Avery Johnson now he takes a lot of motion. He mentioned it good. We're talking, trying to pick and choose spots within the run game in this game. But the game from Vegas, Kansas, is now got a win inside at 41-29. It was 5 alone to go. Got pushed back to 12. They hit a play here. They hit it here to the near side. Here comes Brown. And they'll have the first down. So, see here. Yep, got it. Little shakes Brown picks it. First down. So off the 26-yard line. Here's Johnson Wildcat. First down. This is Joe Jackson. He'll push for 6, maybe 7. And Tyreek Bell's down. They just got more of a Kansas State quarterback.
Well, it's clear that we addressed physicality on the field. That was quite an emphasis for Avery Johnson coming into the season. He came in at 174 when he started at Kansas State. His playing weight around 193. He's focusing on putting on the right type of weight so he doesn't lose his speed.
Second down and 4. Johnson in the row. Checks it down here for Brown again, and he'll step out of bounds at the 34. Yeah, but Dan, when you fail to show all that mesh right there with the family 12-pack tacos from Taco Bell, you felt it about the PM every night.
Looks like what I eat posted.
Well, if they're saying all the way to their statistician Richard Simmons, they're constantly eats 500 games. Holy smokes. 5,000 calories a day. We'll show you a standard here. Yeah, that ball got it's thrown in the neighborhood of the umpire. How about this, Luke? It's a dodgeball game for Michael Pro. Look at this. The umpire's in the line of fire here. Well, it sure is. You got the mesh underneath crossing routes. Avery Johnson trying to sneak in late to the tight end, settling over the middle of the field. Including the zebra. So here's 4th down.